Hello and welcome, arcade enthusiasts and MAME builders alike, or anybody that just wants to touch up any kind of graphics anyway. I got a question from Stuart Archibald on the MAME builders group on Facebook. He was looking for help to fix up his columns graphic that we have right here. Um, it's a little dirty. It looks like he cleaned it up already from the original image that I saw that he had posted. He's obviously messed with the brightness and contrast and stuff to bring it to make it a lot more vibrant. But the one thing that you can't do with those quick effects like that is pull out problems like this. We've got this dark mark here, and it looks like it went through a couple other areas on the graphic, and we got some in the wing here, some in the dress. Um, I used to do a lot more graphic design, so there might be better ways to do this, but I'm going to show you how I know how to do this. And I'm not super familiar with this newest version of Photoshop. So bear with me. Don't freak out if there's some other way to do it. If there is, just let me know. And I'll try to update this for other people. But basically what we're going to do for this area right here, for the behind the columns lettering, is we're going to use a pattern effect, pattern overlay to fix up those dark areas. And conveniently, right in here, we've got a nice sample to pick from to make a pattern that we can use on our overlay to put in the other area where we have the dark marks. As we zoom in here, you can see, though, we've got a dot structure because this is more than likely a screen printed graphic originally. So to get the pattern to work correctly, you're going to want to make your selection. You're going to want to make it kind of in between or in the middle of the dots. So that way, when the pattern or overlay, what it's going to do, it's going to loop the graphic. Excuse me, when it loops the graphic, if you got selected in the middle, the dots should come together instead of having like weird ovals or something. So we can kind of keep the dot structure intact. And that's going to be the main problem, with fixing up images like this, is the dot structure, keeping it from getting too muddy. Because as soon as those dots get muddy, it's actually going to it's going to change the gradient completely, and it gets fairly noticeable. So I copied that. I already made a pattern for that already, but I'll show you how to make the pattern. Like I said, you just take the selection, and then you'll copy. And then what you're going to do is you're going to make a new file. And from that new file, you'll paste in your graphic. You're going to want the canvas to match up completely with the graphic because it's going to make that the entire pattern. So usually when you create a new file, it'll take your clipboard image. It'll make the canvas. It usually defaults the canvas size to the size of your clipboard art that you have copied. But to turn this into the pattern, all you have to do, go up to Edit, and then go to Define Pattern, and then from here you just name it, and then you just save it and just hit OK. So then the pattern would be saved. I already have that. So we're going to go back into the original columns marquee graphic. And for this part, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make a new layer. So we'll go ahead and make a new layer right there, layer 4. We'll just delete layer 3 for now. Well, I'll leave it there. We just won't use it. We'll keep it hidden. So we'll make a new layer like we have layer 4 here. And what we're going to do is you're going to want to select the area that we're going to fix. I already have the selection saved. So I'm just going to go into Select, Load Selection, and I'll pick out my selection that I saved. So as you can see, I've got the area selected where we have the problem areas. And then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to fill in that selection with any color. It doesn't matter because we're going to do a pattern overlay, so it's got black here, so hit OK. And then you're going to want to go down to the bottom of your layers palette and select FX and go to pattern overlay. So we got the default pattern, which is these bubbles right here. There's another default pattern that's in there. But the actual pattern that we made, there's two in here, is right there. So As you can see, there's a little bit of a line there. It's not matched up correctly. So what we'll do is we'll just drag this up. We'll try to get that matched as closely as possible. I do believe that's going to be it. And then we'll hit OK. Just make sure it looks good. Take out the selection. Yep, that's pretty good there. It's a little bit wonky. We'll fix that up later. But yeah, I mean, you go from, here's the original. You can see we got the dark marks, and then voila. So using that pattern is a really good way to clear things up. And we're going to kind of do the same thing up here on the wings here for this gal up here. So I originally tried using a clone tool for this, which is a really good tool. The clone stamp tool works really good. It's good for cleaning up a lot of things, but unfortunately becomes really time consuming because you gotta, with the clone stamp tool, I'll show you really quick here. Basically what you're doing is you're taking samples. If you hold the Alt key while you have the clone stamp tool selected, you can take a sample, like I took a sample from right here because that's a pretty good area, and then we can kind of clean up the dirt here. But the problem is the clone stamp tool keeps moving, so we get the black, and then it does this and that. So with such a small area, it causes a lot of problems. So it's actually best to go and take and make patterns of every different gradient we have here, and I kind of did that already. So I'll show you. So we'll go back to the same place where the clone stamp tool is and go down to pattern stamp tool. For example, we could use a pattern that we used earlier for the behind the columns wording, and then boom, you know, oh cool. Obviously that doesn't work there, but I do have a couple different samples that I've taken here up in my patterns for the different gradients, because as you can see, you've got a different dot gradient in each area. You've got kind of a light yellow, medium, and then a heavier yellow up there. And I even have, I selected a pattern for, made a pattern for this white area here too. But here, I believe this is the light yellow. So we can go in and clean, oops, it's still on the other one. What did I do wrong here? Oh, we gotta go back there. Okay. So now you can kind of go through here and clean this up. Another thing you can do is we'll take our magic wand tool. It's not the best tool in the world to use. I got the tolerance at 87 here, so it kind of does a better job of selecting everything. And then we can go back into the clone stamp tool and select, or not clone stamp, the pattern stamp tool, and select a bigger brush and kind of make quicker work of this. So we'll go like that. Oops. But yeah, we can make quick work of this like this, because it's just got the area selected in there. We gotta be careful though, we don't want to get it in the dress there. And kind of makes quick work of that. As you can see, it's kind of overlapping into the medium areas up there too, but that's not a problem because we'll use a medium brush for that. We'll have the hardness set up correctly so that way it kind of blends in like it's supposed to, because the gradients they do blend a little here. The dot pattern does blend. Okay, and then what we can do is I've got a medium brush, a medium yellow brush here, and I'm going to set the hardness down. I'll make it a little bit softer so that way it kind of gradients in with the bottom. So that way it's got that gradient effect. And then I got to make the deeper yellow for the top. But as you can see, it does a really good job of clearing it up. I would totally recommend using a pattern tool over the clone stamp, unless it's unless you have a really nice giant sample area. Because like I said, I made this video earlier and I tried using the clone, and it takes way too long. It's too time consuming for something like this with the small sample areas you have to work with. So for working with this screen printed artwork, it's a really good idea to go make patterns of the specific gradients. The nice thing is the dots do blend in with each other. So if you are using a lighter gradient and trying to mix it with a heavier one like we did right in here, the dots still blended pretty well. It's not clumping up and causing problems and making solid yellows. So for the dot artwork, make samples of different gradient spaces and then just mess with your brush hardness. And in fact, you could even just pick one gradient and play with the tints on it, to be honest with you, in this situation where we're just dealing with one color. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We're going to go and probably fix up the dress here too. I'm going to use, make some patterns for the blues. And I might go and try to fix up a couple other things. But I mean, as for making this start to look good, I really think those are the biggest problems. There was in the wings there, and obviously behind the columns logo. So yeah, if you have any questions or any better ideas on how to fix this up, let me know. If there's something you want me to take a look at, let me know. I'm usually really lazy and procrastinate, so I'm warning you of that in advance. But yeah, there you go. I'm going to keep working on this and get this out to Stuart on the Facebook main board. And hopefully he likes it. So yeah, you guys have a good one.